The story of Shomin sample starts in the Seiken School for Girls. A high school student named Kimito Kaguraska is kidnapped and brought to this school by extremely muscular men. The lady announces that Kimito will be the commoner sample for this school and asks the girls there if they have any questions for him. All of the girls raise their hands, which surprises Kimito. Some hours earlier in his school, Kimito goes to get something from the school store, but some muscular men came and kidnapped him. They tied him up in a car and took him to the Seiken School for Girls. There Kimito gets welcomed by a maid named Kyujo who tells him that she could only use this method to get a hold of him as she didn't want to create a huge scene. Not knowing what is happening, Kimito lashes out and asks her what is happening. Kyujo thinks that his manners are just like a commoner. She takes Kimito with her and introduces herself to her. According to Kyujo, the Seiken School for Girls is a special school that only takes in young girls from rich and high-class families to teach them the traditions and formality of classical Japanese women. The existence of this school has been kept a secret from the society. Kimito will be attending this school from today. All formalities have been taken care of and the school already received permission from his family as well. Kimito is confused hearing all this, but Kyujo doesn't even pay heed to what he is saying. The school is considered a school of modern aristocracy, so boys weren't allowed before in this school. Everyone on the premises is female, students and staff alike. Kyujo takes Kimito to the principal office where the principal Sayuri Kamachi greets him and apologizes if Kyujo was a tad bit harsh with him. Kyujo also apologizes to Kimito but clicks her tongue while doing it. They tell Kimito that after the girls from this school graduate, it's only natural that they go to the outside world, but being in an isolated only female environment for so long, they don't know how to interact with others and are greatly shocked by the differences between the school and the outside world. Usually, the girls become wrecks that couldn't achieve anything outside. So now the school is trying to take care of this situation in the most optimal way, which will maintain the school's tradition and balance in check. Ultimately, it was decided to admit a commoner sample like Kimito into the school. Kimito had good grades in his previous school, and all his physical features were good too, but the main reason he was selected is his attraction towards males. Kyujo thinks that he has a muscle fetish and is gay because he spent all of his time in school with boys. It was only confirmed by a cheeky childhood friend of Kimito, Hanieri. She probably testified this as a joke, not knowing what will happen to Kimito. When Kimito tells Kyujo and Sayuri that he is straight, they decide that either Kimito lives the rest of his life in a place that isn't found on any map to protect the secret of this school, or his genitalia be removed to protect the chastity of the school girls. Hearing this, Kimito fakes it and tells them that he loves muscle. Kimito then meets a bunch of girls who are eager to meet with him. The committee chairperson of the first year, Rieko Arisugawa, comes forward and greets him on behalf of the whole first year. Kimito says what's up to the girls. They think that the commoners usually say this as a greeting. As the girls were discussing this, Kyujo receives a call from someone on Kimito's phone. She pulls up her phone and cuts the girl. The girls notice this peculiar device and ask what it is. Kyujo tells them that it is a smartphone, which in other words is a small portable telephone. The girls gather around Kyujo and check out the smartphone. They think that commoners are amazing as they regularly use devices like these in their daily life. As they were checking it out, they realized that it belonged to Kimito and they should return it. Rieko approaches Komodo to return the phone but tells him to wait a moment as she thinks that she needs to create a proper thank you card before she returns it to Kimito. Her maid Kuryu brings up a man and paper. She writes on the thank you card and prepares a beautiful gift for Kimito along with the phone. She gives it to Komodo but slips and falls into his arms. Seeing herself in his arms, Rieko gets confused about how to react. Before anybody could do anything, a girl named Eika comes and takes Kimito away. She wants to kiss Kimito as she thinks that all of her wishes will come true if she kisses a commoner. Kimito refuses to kiss her and tells her that none of her wishes are going to come true, but Eika calls him a liar as she heard one of her upperclassmen at a tea party say that it would happen. She eventually calms down when Kimito tells her that her senior never met a commoner either and doesn't know what he is saying. Kimito jokingly says that if she spins around 3 times and starts barking, it will come true. Eika, not knowing that it's a joke, starts to do what he said, thinking that her wishes will come true. Rieko arrives there in order to apologize to Eika and asks what the two of them are doing. Rieko tries to talk to Eika but she just runs away. Rieko tells Kimito that Eika doesn't talk to them because of some shortcomings on their part. After all this commotion, Kyujo takes Kimito to his room in the dormitory building. Kyujo had a special room prepared for him which is almost the same as his real-life room. She mentions that it cost around 100 million yen to build his room, including all the freight charges and everything. Kimito immediately rips off the thigh posters he has in his room, remembering what Kyujo will do if his muscle fetish was a lie. Kyujo thinks that he might be lying when she sees him cry after ripping off the posters. Hearing this, Komodo immediately rushes and hugs the muscle man that she brought for him. After Kamito is done pretending to have a muscle fetish, Kyujo tells him that as of today, she is assigned as his personal maid. It's only natural that he has a maid since every student in this school has one, but Kyujo doesn't want to do anything for him even though she is assigned to him. Before leaving, Kyujo tells Kamito that he needs to participate in a commoner orientation meeting at 3 o'clock. Just when she left, Eika barged into the room because her wish was never granted even though she did what he told her jokingly 58 times. Eika approaches Kamito to slap him after he calls her dumb but stops seeing all the common furniture and things in his room. She thinks that if she starts to learn how to be a commoner, her wish on becoming the most popular girl in class might come true. Kamito tells her that if she just acts normal, her wish will be granted. Eika is scared of being disliked by anybody, so she distances herself from her classmates even though she wants to be friends with all of them and is scared of being alone. She wants to live a fun life surrounded by her friends so she can avoid pretending to be busy. Kamito gives her a PSP-like device so she can play games on it. She tries to play the game and likes it. She tells Kamito to teach her how to be a commoner since commoners are pretty popular in this school at the moment. She creates a commoner club with just 2 of them and proceeds to play the game in order to master it. The next day, Kyujo wakes Kamito even though she wishes he would never wake up. She takes her clothes and folds them as helping him change clothes is her duty. She has to complete her duties despite thinking of Kamito as unattractive and a pervert. Kyujo takes Kamito out of the dormitory through the back door because of all the commotion that was caused because of him yesterday. When he opens the door, he bumps into Eika as she also uses the back door to move in and out. She loudly calls him a commoner and asks what he is doing at the back door. All the girls around hear the word commoner and get excited, so Kyujo tells them to quickly move out of there. Eika thinks that she has what it takes to be a popular person since someone popular like Kamito is also using the back door. Kamito is flustered by the fact that the maids are following them everywhere as they don't have maids in their normal life. Eika hears it and immediately writes it down in her How to Be a Commoner manual. Kamito wants Eika to tell him about this place and how it is like living here since he is also teaching him all the common stuff. Eika tells him that Ryuko will show him most of the stuff, but he would rather have her do it. Ryuko has this beautiful aura around her like she is from another world, which makes him all tense. Moreover, she is a fancy lady and Kamito doesn't get these types of vibes from her. Eika gets angry hearing all this and slaps him. Ryuko greets the 2 of them when they enter the school building. Ryuko is pleased to see him as she has been looking everywhere for him. Ryuko wants some of Kamito's time after school today as they want to have a welcome party for him at the auditorium. Eika runs away as always because of her shyness. Ryuko thinks that she might have done something to upset him. Afterwards, the students do a bunch of activities and Ryuko excels in almost all of them. Kamito creates a new record on the highest jump while Eika falls face first into the sand. While walking with Ryuko and her friends, Kamito asks where Eitsu is. He tells the girls that commoners like him use words like Eitsu with their friends, so it just slipped out. Ryuko mentions that he and Eika were together this whole morning and were quite chatty with each other. She thinks that the fault lies within her and the girls since Eika is interacting with Kamito but not with them. Kamito tells them that she might have her reason for this and they should not dislike her because of this. Ryuko and the others have always liked her. They think that they can be friends with her for sure now since according to Kamito, Eika doesn't dislike any of them. The group then goes to the dining room and Kamito immediately becomes the center of attention. Seeing such a lavish menu, Kamito gets confused and orders the Japanese meal. Kyujo presents him with a cup of instant ramen noodles. He tells Kyujo that even commoners don't eat this all the time. All the girls there ask Kamito what kind of food it is and are surprised to know that you can only make it with hot water. The girl sees the ingredient and wants to try a bit of it. All the girls decide to taste it and they absolutely love it. Kamito thinks that instant ramen noodles aren't even that special, but the girls are acting like they have eaten the best food of their life. Ryuko loves it so much that she wants to cherish this day for the rest of her life. Meanwhile, Eika is eating food all by herself as for her. Eating lunch away from others is relaxing. The scene then shifts to the welcome party held for Kamito. All the girls are dressed in cute and elegant dresses. The music starts playing after they have a drink to officially welcome Kamito to the party. Ryuko asks Kamito if he wants to dance, but Kamito denies as commoners usually don't dance like this in their normal lives. Nonetheless, he agrees to give it a try and tells Ryuko to teach him. They hold each other's hands and start to dance. Kamito messes up the dance, but the girls think that it must be the way commoners dance. After a while in his room, Eika scolds Kamito for coming so late. She wants Kamito to further teach her the way of commoners. She sees some manga and asks Kamito how to read them. She loves them so much that she couldn't stop reading. Thinking that everything in the manga is true, she starts to believe that she too can become a psychic like the commoner in the manga did. Playing with the joke, Kamito teaches her a bunch of steps and tells her that by doing these, she will be able to freeze up time. When she does the steps, Kamito pretends to be frozen in place. Thinking that it is real, she starts jumping out of joy and flashes him. As she was about to kiss him, Kimito spits at her. She punches him but still acts like he was frozen in time before finally revealing that it was all an act. The scene then shifts to Ryoko taking a shower. She opens up the door and sees Kimito on the other side of it. He is completely mesmerized by her figure but apologizes and runs away. Since he has seen her naked, Ryoko thinks that Kimito will now have to take her as his wife. She starts daydreaming about her marriage with him all the time and mishears everything Kimito is saying, like hearing about the wedding when Kimito says waiting. Somewhere within the school premises, a maid is being instructed on how to take care of Hakua. Hakua has set meals for every day of the week and isn't able to dress on her own. Hyujo wakes up Kimito and asks if he is accustomed to the life of the school yet. Kimito gets a message from her mother who asks how his life is going. She also tells him that they have a natural hot spring in their house. Hyujo tells Kimito that his whole home underwent large-scale renovations as a thank you for letting Kimito join the school. She grabs his phone to reply to his mom, but he takes it back and deletes the message he wrote. Kimito is overwhelmed by the amount of attention he is getting as he can't even use the restroom in peace. He goes out after a class and sits alone on a bench when suddenly his eyes divert to a small girl called Hakua who is writing equations on the statue. The girl abruptly starts undressing, which panics Kimito. He tells her to dress up, but when she doesn't listen, he takes her to his room in order to not look like a creep in front of others. In his room, he tells the little girl to dress up or else she will get a cold. Hakua goes to a window and asks if he undressed her. He declines and tells her to get dressed up, but she cannot do that as she is unable to get dressed by herself. He puts the clothes on her and exchanges names with her. Hakua's tummy starts to rumble soon after. He tells Kimito that her blood pressure is low, but Kimito tells her to just be normal and say that she is hungry. He makes ramen noodles for her, which she loves. After she is done eating, she acts like she just had a revelation and starts writing equations on Kimito's table. In the blink of an eye, she starts to undress, which panics Kimito. Eika also entered the room at the same time. She sees Kimito holding Aqua's panties and calls him a pervert. Later, Kimito takes Hakua back to her home. The maid there has a camera ready to take pictures of what Hakua wrote on the statue. She tells Kimito that Hakua participates globally in the field of mathematics and industry. A lot of famous businesses wait for her conclusions before deciding something. Even this building was purchased from the funds earned by her parents. She wants to take Hakua away to eat but gets surprised to hear that she has already eaten. As Kimito was about to leave, she grabbed his hand and told him to stay here. The maid Sakamori then discusses with all the other maids about the way Hakua acted with Kimito. It's the first time she has eaten something other than her schedule and shown interest in something other than academics. The next day in school, Ryoko tells Kimito that they have a flower arranging class today. She offers to assist him with anything when Kimito tells her that he won't be any good in that class. As they were walking, Kimito saw a girl named Karen approaching him while wielding a katana. She says a bug and starts to randomly strike at it as she is afraid. The girls there think that she called Kimito a bug. Karen starts to go on with what the girls said and starts attacking him. When she is unable to hit him, she uses her special move, which did nothing except tearing off everyone's clothes. Karen blames it on him and starts attacking him with the intent to kill. Kimito gets tired of running and attacks her in return, but somehow ends up on top of her completely naked. She gets up and wants a rematch, but before she could strike her sword, her clothes get ripped off too. She thinks that it was Kimito's attack and it was so fast that she couldn't even see it. Kimito tells her that he didn't do anything and it was her own attack. Karen starts to think that he is way too powerful and proclaims him to be her master. Back in his room, Eika forms a plan to conduct a party that will make her the most popular girl in class. She wants to invite everyone through smartphones, but it is a tough idea as it isn't easy to get smartphones for every girl in their class. Kimito then asks Hakua if she is developing any cell phones and learns that she has a bunch of samples in her home. Aol is uncomfortable with the fact that Hakua is sitting in Kimito's lap. Despite her looks, Hakua is 14 years old and studies in middle school. Karen also arrives in Kimito's room and immediately starts to hug Hakua as she finds hers cute. Hakua gets away from her and hides behind Kimito, who asks Karen why she is here. Karen says that she belongs to him and will try her best to remain at his side as much as possible, but she will kill him at the moment she realizes that she is stronger than him. After some time, Hakua's maid brings all the cell phones Eika requires and gives them to her. When Eika takes a selfie, Kimito asks Hakua if she wants to take one too. Hakua only wants to take a selfie with Kimito, which makes the others jealous as they also want to take a selfie with him. One day in school, Ryoko along with her friends invites Kimito to a tea party in her room. It is a small get-together she has with her friend and is something they do all the time. She tries to tell Kimito that she isn't inviting him to her room as an excuse, but it's just that he is a friend and she wants him to come. Her friends jump in and say that inviting Kimit today was a special request from Ryoko, but Ryoko covers her mouth before she could even complete the sentence. Kimito takes up on the kind offer. But his plans are disturbed when Eika comes and takes him away since he already has plans with her. She doesn't want Kimito to go attend her tea party as they need to work on her plans. When Kimito says that her plans aren't that urgent, Eika thinks that he just wants to go into Ryuko's room. She tells him to hurry up as they have to go back to the room and get her plan ready. Kimito goes to Ryuko and tells her that she has already made some arrangements with Eika and can't come to her tea party. Before he goes away, Ryuko wishes him good luck on his plans with Eika. The scene then shifts to Ryuko's room where she is having a tea party with her friends. The girls discuss that Kimito has no choice as he was already occupied with Eika. The girls discuss how Eika only opens up to Kimito. Ryuko thinks that Eika must be asking Kimito for his advice as she is probably distressed by the current circumstances but her in them. Kimito is such a gentleman for Ryuko, who thinks that there is no person better to ask for a piece of advice than him. The other girls mention how they hear Eika's voices when they go outside of Kirito's room, and she also stays there till late at night. They start to think that they might even be in a relationship together. Hearing all this, Ryuko gets angry and goes away. When Kimito goes to his class, he sees one of Ryuko's friends crying and asks about the reason. He goes to Ryuko's room and asks if he is the reason that she is sad. She opens up the door and says that there is nothing like that. She invites him inside and tells him the whole story. She wants a way to apologize to her friends. Kimito promises to find a way for her and goes back to his room. Eika asks Kimito how Ryuko is as she follows him till he goes inside her room. Kimito tells her that Ryuko is pretty depressed and he wants to help her out. Since the whole class is involved with it, they need to do something special so Ryuko can apologize to everyone. Hearing this, Eika tells Kimito to use the mobile phones and stuff she gathered for her party to be used on Ryuko. Kimito thinks that Eika is one hell of a girl for doing all this. The next day in the class, Kimito tells everyone that they are going to have a commoner after-school experience party. Ryuko comes inside the room in girly clothes and says a bunch of commoner slang. The girls love the way she is looking. Ryuko pulls out her phone to message everyone and tells them to look inside their desks. The girls look inside their desks and find a phone there. Ryuko messages everyone that she is sorry for being rude and angry the other day. She takes a selfie with a girl, and before long everyone wants to take a selfie. When everyone goes away, Ryuko thanks Kimito for everything he has done for him. As Kimito was about to confess something, but before she could say anything, Kimito cut her off and told her that today was her idea. She tells Ryuko that she wants to be friends with everyone including her and was planning to throw a commoner party, but she threw away everything for her sake. Hearing all this, Ryuko runs towards Eika in Kimito's room. She tells Eika that she knows everything and calls her an idiot. The two start fighting with each other. Ryuko tells her that if she had just come to her in the first place for advice, she wouldn't have to do all that in order to be friends with everyone. And as such, her idea of a commoner party won't be sacrificed. Ryuko has always been extremely worried about her and thought that it was something she did that made Eika not approach her. They both proclaim their hate for each other, even though in reality they kinda like each other. After Ryuko goes away, Eika tells Kimito that she was like a normal girl before, but she had a severe fever when she was in 4th class and her memories were lost. Since then she has been talking like this with everybody. Taran and Hakua soon enter the room to hang out with Kimito. Ryuko arrives shortly after too, and they all give Kimito a letter in order to join the Commoner Club. Eika and Ryuko have a fight as they are both pretending to not want to stay with each other together in a club. Before long, they start actually fighting with each other and Hakua undresses herself out of habit to write equations. Hujo enters and witnesses all this. She brings a set of huge scissors to cut off Kimito's you-know-what, but Kimito is saved when he suddenly starts some Muslim videos and pretends to like them. Hakua is sleeping with Kimito all naked. He wakes up and puts some clothes on her. He checks his fridge as Hakua is hungry and realizes that he only has potatoes available. He tells her a bunch of potato dishes and they ultimately decide to make some potato cakes. Kimito starts preparing the dish and tells Hakua to make balls out of the dough since she also wants to do something. She tries her best but struggles to make it as good as Kimito. Randomly, she starts taking off her clothes again and proceeds to write some equations on the wall. Kimito puts her back in clothes and reads the dish. Hakua tries the potato cakes and finds them delicious. After they are done eating, Hakua tells Kimito a riddle without knowing what a riddle actually is. Kimito asks her about her favorite things to do when she was in grade school. Hakua proved ergodic hypotheses and made a bunch of robots and sepoos as fun. Surprised by all this, he asks her a riddle and she fails to get it every time, causing her to get cutely angry. Soon Sakamori arrives to get Hakua, but she wants to stay with him. Kimito tells her that she can come by again tomorrow and goes to her house with her to drop her off. There he sees a plushie that looks like him in Hakua's room. Just when he was about to ask about it, Hakua rushes into the room and closes the door. When she does arrive, she looks for Kimito and tries to go away once she realizes that he is not here. Karen closes the door and they all tell her that they should spend some girl time too. Hakua doesn't want to interact with them and quietly reads some manga. She refuses to eat their food too, even when Karen goes to the length of dressing like Kamito. Since Kamito isn't here to give her food, Hakua just eats the food from her schedule. After she takes a bite of her food, Hakua proceeds to write equations on the wall and undresses herself. All of them dress her up and soon she goes to sleep. Sakamori arrives sometime after to pick her up and asks her if Kamito is here. Hakua replies that he isn't, but her friends are. Hearing this puts a smile on everyone's face. Before going, she asks the same riddle to the girls that Kamito asked her. To her surprise, Eika guesses the riddle perfectly. The scene then shifts to Kamito playing a girlfriend simulator game because his friend Eri voice acted as the main girl in this game. As he was saying "I love you" to the girl inside the game, Eika arrives and asks what he is doing. Kamito explains the game to her and tells her that he is only playing the game because her friend Eri is a voice actress in this game. He gives the game over to Eika and tells her to talk with the girl. She plays the game and immediately falls for the girl inside the game. As she was playing, an announcement was made for Kamito to come to the president's office. He goes away and Ryuko comes inside the room right after, as she wanted to read a book. Eika wants her to leave, but Ryuko pays no heed to her and starts reading the manga. She asks Eika why there are only girls on the cover of all of these manga and magazines. Aola doesn't know the reason for it and tells her to take the manga to her own room and leave. Ryuko tells her to come down from the bed and sit properly even if Kamito isn't present. Eika gets angry and wants to leave now, but stops when she hears Ryuko getting happy to spend some time with Kamito. After they are done reading, they see a bottle of cola inside the fridge and both of them want to drink it. Eika doesn't want to share it with Ryuko as she was the one that founded it. She eventually agrees to drink it with her after Ryuko gets all sad. They sit together at the table and try the drink out, only to spit it out on each other's clothes as they are trying out a fizzy drink for the first time. They take off their clothes since they are all wet. Ryuko tries to show Eika how to fold a dress properly but accidentally falls on top of her. Eika calls her breasts filthy and the two of them start fighting again. Kamito arrives in the room right when they start to fight. He misunderstands the situation and immediately goes away. Kamito was summoned to the president's office because of a theme park that was developed in order to allow the ladies to experience the commoner culture themselves. They have named this park Shomin Land and want Kamito to advise the students when they go to that park. The president is happy as Kamito's arrival has created a positive effect on the atmosphere of this school. Everyone takes a plane ride from the school and arrives at the theme park on buses. The girls freak out seeing what the everyday streets and buildings of the outside world look like. They are even excited to walk across the zebra crossing. All of them go to a popular restaurant where Kyujo explains how to order. The girls are surprised to hear that they can't wait at the table and must wait for the food to arrive after giving the order right at the counter. They think that they have been spoiled growing up and feel bad for commoners who are living such a tough life. They agree to stand and wait even if it is 2 hours, but Kyujo tells them that it only takes a minute or two for the food to arrive. Kamito tells Eika to order first as they have practiced about it in his room, but Eika is just too afraid to go first. Ryuko then volunteers and goes to the counter first but gets confused seeing the menu. He approaches Ryuko to help her decide what to order. Soon all the girls have ordered and are sitting at the tables with their food. Eika, like always, is sitting separately from everyone. Kamito takes a bite of the burger and gets mesmerized by how delicious and perfect everything is. He gets up and lashes out at everyone as in real life. The burgers are never this good and the school is making a mockery of the fast food. Elsewhere, Hakua is going to Kamito's room, but Sakamori stops her and tells her that he along with the girls is on a trip to Shomin Land. After everyone is done eating, they go to an arcade and get excited seeing all the beautiful plushes and machines. Eika is sitting alone at the dancing game and is waiting for someone to come over. Some girls arrive and ask Kamito to teach them the plushie catching game. Kamito catches a plushie for them and the girls give it a try themselves afterward. In no time, a bunch of girls arrive as all of them want to learn the plushie catching game from Kamito. After they are done with that, they go to the dancing game. Since Eika isn't present, Kamito shows them how to play this game. The girls try to play this game and struggle to dance properly, but Eika jumps in and gives them proper instruction. Soon, all the girls want Eika to teach them this game. Finally, Eika is starting to make friends with her classmates. She continues to impress the girls with her commoner skills in a coffee shop. She teaches them how to order different coffees and also tells them how each coffee tastes. When the coffee arrives, the girls get confused about how to drink the coffee. Eika tries to demonstrate to them but accidentally burns her mouth as the coffee was really hot. While everyone is doing different stuff, Karen is chasing after a dog she finds cute. Kamito asks everyone if they are still using their cell phones. The girls tell him that they only use it in their room after the class, while Eika tells him that she doesn't use it at all. The girls then ask Eika to text her and if it will be alright if they texted her too. While all of them are having fun, Hakua is sitting all sad in her room as Kamito isn't there with her. After the girls have had their fill of eating and drinking, they are taken to a shopping mall so they can see what types of clothes commoners wear. Karen finds a really cute pink shirt and wants to try it out but is too ashamed to admit that she has any interest in this place. She tells Kimito that there is no way for him to prove that she was here. She pulls out her sword to threaten Kimito, but Kimito plays along with the joke and tells her that if he wanted, he could defeat her in a flash. She orders Karen to try out the shirt as she wants to try it out but is too shy. Karen happily goes to the trying room but doesn't want Kimito to see her as she is not confident in herself. Kimito takes one look at her and immediately falls in love with her thighs. She thinks that they are too ungracefully fat, but Kimito showers her with a bunch of compliments. At the room they are staying on their visit, Eika is getting a bunch of messages from everyone. Since Ryuko is in the room with her, Eika finds it weird that the two people who dislike each other are paired when now she has a ton of friends. Ryuko only pretends to hate her and actually doesn't. Aiza wants to show Ryuko a text where she tells everyone the reason she has been avoiding them all this while. She wants Ryuko to check this message for her as there is no better person for it than her. Eika thinks that Ryuko always knows how the other person is feeling and what the right thing to do is. Even the little things she says and the way she can pull things together is pretty great according to Eika. For this reason, she wants her to check the message even though she might hate her, which isn't actually the case. Ryuko tells her that the text is too long and she needs to make it precise and concise. In the text, Eika explains the reasons she has been avoiding everyone and says that she has a tendency to frankly say whatever comes into her mouth. Because of this habit, she has hurt a lot of her friends in the past. It's because of this that she is scared of talking to others, as she is scared that she might repeat the same thing all over again. She apologizes to everyone and asks if they can be friends from now on. Ryuko thinks that the text is still a bit long, as she is already close friends with them, but Eika sends it anyway this time. She thanks Ryuko because of her. She can finally be friends with everyone in the class. The scene then shifts to Kyujo waking up Kimito. She still hates him with her guts, and the only reason she is helping him is because of her pride in being a maid. At the cafeteria, Eika proceeds to get a ton of attention from everyone. Kimito is happy that she is finally making friends with others. She thanks Kimito for everything he has done for her, as without him, it wouldn't have been possible. Kimito puts an end to the Commoner Club, as Eika only made this club in order to get popular, and from now on, her time will be spent on afternoon parties and other stuff. Eika goes away, but she is visibly sad of hearing what Kimito said about the club. After all this, Kimito goes to a hot spring to take a bath. Eika also arrives there and asks why he is here. The girls had their time yesterday in the hot spring, so it's only natural that Kimito gets to relax here a bit, but Eika says that she and her friends decided to come again today. In order to not be seen by others, Kimito hides behind Eika underwater. The girls mention that her face is unusually red at the time. The girls start talking about her relationship with Kimito, as they are envious of how close she is with Kimito. The girls go away afterward, but Kimito is unconscious now after failing to hold his breath for so long. Eika gives him mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, but the girls arrive to check on Eika and think that she is kissing him. Kyujo wakes up Kimito after he goes unconscious and tells him to get to the assembly in 20 minutes. He goes to Eika and notices the weird behavior of every girl there. He asks Eika about the reason for it. The word is out that he and Eika are dating. Karen comes and hits him too after hearing this news. In Kimito's room, Eika tells the whole story to everyone. Karen is trying to feed Hakua some cookies as always. Ryuko offers to clear up her situation with everyone, but when Eika sees Kimito, she tells her to hold on to it a bit longer. In the class, Eika asks Kimito what commoners do for fortune telling. Kimito tells her that commoners do it through their smartphones. He puts in her birthday in the fortune telling app, and it correctly describes her nature to her whilst also revealing that her lucky color is green. Eika wears all green, thinking that if she covers herself in green, she will surely be lucky enough today. Kimito jokingly tells her that she needs to cover her face and hands as well. He tells her to yell beans while dancing so good luck will come to her. Ryuko and the others enter the classroom while she is doing her dance and ask who she is. The scene then shifts to Kimito's room, where everybody is eager to reveal their fortunes. The fortune turns out to be pretty accurate for all of them. Karen wants to get her fortune told, but she doesn't want to admit it and tells Kimito to do it under the scope of martial arts. The fortune teller app says that Karen is a lonely girl that fails to do even the basic tasks, but her smile makes people forgive her. Karen gets angry hearing all this and blames it on Kimito, who is holding the phone while her fortune is told. Karen checks the phone herself and comes across the page where they can test their compatibility with someone. Since it can only be done with people of the opposite gender, all the girls decide to do it with Kimito. Kimito checks her compatibility with Eika, which turns out to be 80. The fortune teller app reveals that they will make a fantastic couple. Eika screams out in excitement but runs out of the room since she doesn't want to show her excitement to others. Before Ryuko's compatibility is checked with Kimito, Eika mocks her and says that it's tough to beat 80 points, but to her surprise, it comes out to be 90 points. The app reveals that they are the perfect couple for marriage. Kimito's chemistry with Hakua only comes out to be 50 points, and they are told that they need to work hard in order to understand each other better. Hakua is upset when she hears it but doesn't give much of a reaction. Kimito's chemistry with Karen comes out to be 0%. They will die if they stay with each other. Kimito looks at his phone and realizes that he has put in the wrong inputs. He puts in the right inputs and gets shocked seeing that he and Karen have scored 100 points and are perfect for each other. They are the ultimate partners who can bond on a deep spiritual level. Eika and Ryuko start to rant saying how inaccurate this fortune telling is, even though they were showing off their points earlier. They use their phones to get a result favorable for them and tease each other with it. Karen tells them to stop arguing as it is disgraceful for them to fight over this fortune teller when the correct fortune naturally comes from the moon in the form of a fortune teller who wears a sailor uniform. Eika and Ryuko don't agree with it and the three start arguing again. They are so focused on the argument that they don't even realize Kimito and Hakua are moving out of the room. The next day, Kyujo wakes up Kimito again and badmouths him 6 times. Kimito asks her why she has to wake him up every day. For Kyujo, waking Kimito is a duty she has to perform as a maid even though she doesn't want to do it. Kimito doesn't want Kyujo to wake him up as he has his smartphone to help. Hearing this, she almost destroys the smartphone as it is the bane of a worker. To stop her from doing it, Kimito agrees to let her wake him up as usual. The scene then shifts to Kimito watching muscular men fight with each other. She attacks him as the fortune teller app told her to start aggressively pressing her attacks toward Kimito. She uses the sword but doesn't directly attack Kimito. She just wants to show off her sword skills and make Kimito realize that they are amazing. Karen then takes Kimito to her room and she accidentally rips off his shirt from the side. She searches for the tailoring gear in her room and opens up the closest. Kimito sees that she has little toys and houses in his closet. She tells Kimito to face the other way so she can wear the dress she tried on the theme park trip. When she is done, she asks Kimito to look at her and say how she looks. Kimito is extremely mesmerized by her beauty and says that she looks fantastic like this. She tells Kimito that she only wears it because she wants to and not for him, when in reality, it is actually for him. Kimito sees her sewing the shirt and thinks that she would be a fine bride. She blushes and says that she is not ready for all this. She fixes up the shirt and gives it back to him. She then tells him to give her his undershirt as it needs stitching too. He refuses to do it as he will be half naked if he does, but Karen takes it by force as she is aiming to see him half naked. She gets close to him and wonders how he is strong enough to overpower her, even though she is a girl. All Karen has held in her hands is her sword. She finds it weird, but Kimito tells her that it makes her outstanding. Not weird. It is proof of how hard she has worked, and that proof is beautiful. Karen is having trouble believing all this. As they were having this conversation, Eiki, Ryuko, and Hakua arrived in her room after some girls told them that they saw Kimito going into Karen's room. Before they entered the room, Karen took Kimito with her and hid in a closet. Kimito thinks that there is no need to hide from them. As the closet is congested, Kimito falls face first into her chest, causing the both of them to fall off the closet. Eika picks up his phone and sees the video of muscular men fighting with each other. Kimito tells her that it's a new way of fortune telling when she asks about it. Eika then grabs him and puts him in a fighting position so he can reveal her fortunes. Hakua remembers the time when her compatibility was revealed with Kimito. Her maid Sakamori sees that she has made a face of Kimito with her food too. She talks about it with the other maids and they think that she is in love with Kimito. After some time in his room, Eika asks Kimito what a maid cafe is. It is a restaurant where the staff dress up as maids. Eika argues with Kimito about him previously telling them that there are no maids in the world of commoners. Kimito tells them that the maids from the maids cafe aren't like the maids of this school. They are like idols and a special kind of person because commoners can't usually obtain them. After joining the school, Kimito was excited to see all the hard-working maids and he sort of liked them. Hearing this, the girls want to learn to be like such maids. Ryuko goes to the cafeteria and reserves it for them. They're all 4 of the girls dress as maids while Kimito acts like a customer. Ryuko presents a menu to him and fully acts like a cafe maid. They then demand Kimito show them what comes next. Kimito tells them that the maids serve the food with love and shows it to them when Karen points a sword at his neck. They see what he does and immediately go away. Sakamori also hears that she likes maids and gets some ideas to get Hakua close to Kimito. Back in the cafeteria, Eika tries to act like a maid cafe but fails to do so because of how embarrassing it is. After a bunch of activities, Ryuko shows off her horrible and destructive singing. The pitch is so low that all the glass around the cafeteria is shattered. Sakamori and the other maids come and clean up the cafeteria along with their food. While he was sitting on a bench, Sakamori arrives and invites him to go see them work. Kimito agrees and goes with her to Hakua's home. She shows him Hakua's laboratory where she works at. After she is done, maids come inside and take pictures of everything she has done and tidy up the place. Hakua meets up with Kimito and gets happy when he compliments her work. They go to a sand area where she and Kimito try to make a house with the sand while all the maids are in the back watching. Afterward, they go to the cafeteria to eat something, but the maids occupy them at the cafeteria as well. They present food to him and Hakua on a single plate. When he asks for another plate and points to them, one of the maids destroys all of the plates so he and Hakua might eat together on a single plate. Sakamori makes an excuse for it and says that the maids do this when they are stressed. The maids do the same when Kimito asks for a spoon so he might eat with the same spoon Hakua is using. After they are done eating, the maids present them with a drink, but it only has a single double-sided straw in it. When he points out the straws, the maids throw them all too. Sakamori says that they were all defective as one of their sides was closed. She also says that he and Hakua look like they are boyfriend and girlfriend. Kimito looks at Aqua's face and thinks that she is actually really pretty. As he was drinking the juice with her, head maid Kyujo comes to Hakua's home and tells Sakamori that an urgent verification request was forwarded to her when the laboratory didn't respond. Kimito takes his leave and thanks Sakamori for everything she has done. Kimito invites Eika to come into his room alone as he has something important to discuss, so it would be better with just the two of them. Seeing her nervousness, Kimito tells Eika that they are good friends already so she doesn't have to be nervous anymore. He tells Eika to sit with her and gives her a gift. Eika opens it up and sees a yellow men's suit inside the gift box. Kimito tells her that with this suit, she will become popular in front of everyone. He tells her that it's a greeting between commoners when she asks about it. Eika shows him a picture of Dandy Sakano, the person who invented Gets, and is wearing the same suit that Kimito has given Eika. His name and Gets are popular around the whole world according to Kimito. Kimito tells Eika that Dandy is a gagsman that makes everyone laugh. After Eika wears the dress, Kimito makes her practice the Get pose in its advanced form. After all is done, Kimito thinks that all that's left is to tell her the truth and get punched in the face, but before he could say anything to her, she abruptly leaves. Kimito tries to go after her but collides with Kyujo and somehow ends up inside her skirt. Ryuko sees Eika running past her with the yellow suit and asks what kind of outfit it is. Eika tells her that it's none of her business. Hearing this, Ryuko runs after her and makes her reveal the details of the outfit. Eika tells her that the outfit was worn by a famous commoner and shows her the pose. She further tells her that Kimito gave the idea of this along with the suit. Ryuko gets jealous of Eika as she received a suit from Kimito. Eika tells her to just go and ask Kimito for one. She then practices the poses with Eika. After she learns it, they decide to show this greeting to all the girls. Kimito goes inside the classroom looking for Eika and sees all the girls in similar suits as Eika. All the girls surround him and do the poses. Sometime after, Ryuko overhears Kimito talking to one of his friends. Kimito tells his friend Hattori that at first, the school was a dream come true for him, but after some time, he realized that the company of guys is just better because he has to be considerate when he is dealing with girls. He misses the way guys smell and is feeling homesick. Ryuko rushes towards Eika and the others and tells them that Kimito is going away because he misses guys. They think of something to do that will make him stay here. Eika thinks that if they get a little more masculinity and act more like guys, they can make Kimito stay in this school. They practice a bunch of guy things and try different looks to smell like guys. Hakua suggests they all use yakiniku seasoning on their bodies. After all the preparation is done, they dress up and act like guys in front of Kimito, who tells them that they all look weird and smell like yakiniku seasoning. They did all this because he was going to leave the school, so they thought that they would take the place of the guys. Kimito calls them silly but thanks them for doing this for him. Kimito is there because he forgot his pencil case. They both look at the sky and admire how beautiful it is. Kimito mentions that the air in the sky are way better than the city. Even though the skies in the city aren't clear like this, Ryuko still wants to go and see them. Kimito tells her to ask for anything she wants. If he's able to, he will do it for sure. Hearing this, Ryuko asks Kimito if he wants her to teach him about the flower arrangement class as he is weak in that one. Ryuko wants it to be just the two of them when she teaches him. When he agrees to it, she also requests him to call her by her first name. Kimito tells her that he will think about it. The scene then shifts to Kimito's room where everyone is deciding on what to do today. Kimito asks Ryuko if she wants to do something, but she tells him to just keep his promise. When the others inquire about this promise, Ryuko tells them that it's a secret. As they were arguing about this, Kuryu comes and tells Ryuko to come to the president's office as her mother Hoko and brother Masayami are waiting there for her. They have also invited Kimito to come with Ryuko. Hoko interacts with Kimito a bit to learn about him. Masayami doesn't want a boy to stay with her sister as she has a sister complex. He tells Kimito to stay away from her. Hearing this, Ryuko tells her brother to apologize to Kimito. Kyujo tells Masayami to not worry about him as he only experiences sexual excitement towards well-developed male muscle. To go with the flow, Kamito grabs Masayami's shoulder and says that he has a nice body. This makes Masayami feel weird, who then says that a pervert like him shouldn't be in close proximity of Ryuko. Hoko jumps in and tells Masayami to sit down calmly. She then tells Ryuko that her marriage has been fixed with Satoshi from the Kano family and wants her to come home now. Kamito and Ryuko are stunned to hear this news but are unable to do anything. Hoko then politely tells Kamito to leave the office. Eika tells Kamito that parents who have boys would visit the school function as spectators. When they find a girl that they like, they would approach her family for marriage negotiations. Even though this trend is almost gone as compared to the past, it is still there. Kamito thinks that just coming up and telling her that she is going to get married is too harsh, as her choice should also be considered. He tells the others that she doesn't want this marriage either by the way she looked at him. Masayami approaches the group and tries to give his email to him but fails when his mother comes. Kamito is confused about what just happened. Inside Kamito's room, everyone struggles to find something to do as Ryuko was the one who made these decisions daily. At night, Eika tells Karen and Hakua that she is going to call Ryuko today. Hakua fixes her phone so she can call her without any hassle. On the call, Ryuko tells Eika that she needs to be like her mother and her ancestors and marry a respected family. The school was there just to groom and cultivate her for this point. Ryuko tells her that even though they fought a lot, she enjoyed it a lot and would drop by the school when she gets the chance. Eika tells her that without her, nothing in the school feels right and she is against this marriage. Ryuko starts crying after hearing this and tells her that she doesn't want to leave the school and her friends either, but she doesn't know what to do. Eika convinces her that they will manage something. She tells Kamito about this in the morning. They are thinking about making a direct plea against this marriage. He thinks the Masayami is also against this marriage because of his sister's complex, but he wasn't able to get his email address. Hakua then gives his email address to Kamito, and they learn that he also wants this engagement to break. They try to slip out of the school at night to go to the parking lot where Masayami is waiting in a car. Hyujo catches them but tells them that she doesn't have a problem if they are doing a club activity. They approach the car and make their way towards the Arasugawa residence. Karen tells them to keep going and leave the guards to her. She uses her special move and rips off all their clothes. The others encounter Takemiya on the way. Masayami battles with him and tells the others to keep going ahead. Once they are inside, they see a bunch of drones standing in the way, but Eika takes care of them by making them crash into each other. As they moved inside the place, gates started to come down from every angle to shut off areas. Just when they were about to be locked in a place, some muscular man held the door open for Hakua, who went inside the control room to reopen the whole place. They move further in and find a really big robot. The robot was about to trample them under his foot, but Karen comes in and saves them at the last second with a different outfit. She tells everyone that there is a room inside this castle where time moves slower than the outside world, allowing her to get stronger in a short amount of time. She uses the Karen-style final technique to take care of the big robot, but rips her clothes in the process. Kamito gives her his coat and moves further inside the castle. Hakua hacks some drones to quickly send Kamito to the room where the marriage negotiation is taking place. Hoko thanks him for coming all this way for her friend but tells him to leave as they are busy. Kamito tells Hoko that he is against this marriage because Ryuko doesn't want it. Hoko replies that Ryuko understands how important this engagement is. She is just being made to follow the family's rules and is getting engaged for the good of the family. Hoko says that Ryuko is aware of all this, but she wants to put her duty and family first instead of her choice. Everyone tries to tell Hoko about their experiences with Ryuko and the school in order to convince her, but she just tells the guards to take the guests away. Hearing this, Ryuko tells Hoko that she is going to leave home. Hoko tells her that the moment she leaves the family, she won't be eligible to return back to the school as only girls from prestigious families are allowed there. Kamito invites Ryuko to his home away from all these rules and restrictions. He can't give her the life she has here, but he promises to convince his parents and do his best to make sure she is happy. Ryuko accepts it and says farewell to her mother. The Kano family respects Ryuko's decision and leaves the place. Hoko tells Kamito to always take care of her, thinking that he just proposed to her and plans to marry her. Kamito reflects on what he said and realizes that his words sounded like he wanted to marry her even though he had no intention of doing that. Hoko suggests they only get engaged for now as they are still young. He tells Hoko if she is sure about this as he is a commoner. She despises Kamito but thinks that she would very much like him as her son-in-law. She will take him into the family just so she can torment him with everything she can muster. The other tried to object to this marriage, but Hoko says that it is already decided. Masayami starts to chase after him as he doesn't want this marriage to happen too. Kamito fears for his life and thinks that he is going to get killed over a sister complex. The scene then shifts to the school where Kamito is apologizing to Ryuko as what he said was misleading. Ryuko also apologizes to him for jumping to conclusions so fast and says that both she and her mother are embarrassed. Soon the others arrive in the room as well. Eika and Ryuko start fighting with each other. Hakua takes off her pants and goes to write equations on the wall while Karen goes after her. That's all for today. How do you think the story of Shomin sample proceeds from this point? Let us know in the comments down below. Do leave a like and subscribe to our channel for more amazing content.